Well, President Trump, Prime Minister Netanyahu continue their high-stakes discussions for a Gaza ceasefire. Last night, they held their second White House meeting in 2 days.
Well, in Gaza, a humanitarian agency that's delivered tens of millions of meals to Palestinian civilians is under fire from Hamas and the United Nations. Chuck Holton reports from Jerusalem.
Prime Minister Netanyahu met with President Trump at the White House Tuesday night. The focus, the return of hostages in Gaza.
We have still to finish the job in Gaza, release all our hostages, eliminate and destroy Hamas's military and governance capabilities, because Gaza must have a different future for our sake, for everyone's sake.
He also pointed to recent joint U.S. Israel strikes on Iranian targets, calling them a turning point for the region.
First comes strength, then comes the peace. Our resolute action, the resolute decision of President Trump to act with us against those who seek to destroy Israel and threaten the peace of the world has made a remarkable change in the Middle East.
Meanwhile, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation continues its large-scale effort to feed civilians inside the war zone. The group was launched in February to counter widespread food shortages after Hamas hijacked and resold international aid to finance its war effort. Other efforts, such as the U.S.-backed floating pier, largely failed. The GHF, largely funded by the U.S. and backed by Israel, is operating despite opposition from the United Nations, which has made allegations that the IDF killed civilians seeking aid. An IDF investigation found one civilian was accidentally killed while troops were trying to control a chaotic crowds that are frequently infiltrated by Hamas operatives. Over the weekend, terrorists threw grenades at a food distribution center, injuring 2 American aid workers. Despite the dangers, GHF has successfully distributed more than 65 million meals to Gaza civilians so far. As political pressure and battlefield costs converge, the focus is now on Washington and Doha to see whether diplomacy can deliver what everyone hopes for: a lasting resolution. From Jerusalem, I'm Chuck Holton for CBN News.
Well, Johnny Moore is the executive chairman of the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. He joins us now from our bureau in Washington, D.C. Johnny, it looks like every time I turn around, there's yet another organization coming at you, whether it's the UN doing it. Then I read Amnesty International is saying you're part of some kind of coordinated campaign to starve Gazans. Then amazingly, even USAID is critiquing your grant. Why all this opposition? It doesn't make sense. You're being successful on the ground. Why aren't people applauding you?
Yeah, I mean, not just successful. Amidst 2 wars, including the war between Israel and Iran, we will surpass 70 million free meals provided to the Gazan people, meals that Hamas is unable to divert and still. And we knew from the very beginning that we were poking the bear of Hamas. They've threatened our lives. They've threatened my life. They've threatened the lives of people, in particular our local Gazan aid workers who bravely serve every day. But we poked a second bear that we didn't expect, which was a mafia-like coalition of aid organizations led by the United Nations itself, which has decided to try to destroy us. And from the very beginning, Gordon, I mean, we've been saying we want to work together with the United Nations, with the World Food Program, with all of these organizations, because we have one simple mission, which is to get free food to the people of Gaza. And they need a lot of it, and we need to get more of it there. And yet, to our great surprise, you know, we have uncovered an incredible conspiracy that maybe these organizations that get billions from the United States and Europe may not actually be so interested in the people of Gaza. And we're not totally sure what they are more interested in yet, but they're doing everything in their power to try to shut us down.
I've got to ask why. I'll just give you 2 alternatives. One, is this some kind of power play that they're saying you're going to take our funding from us and we want to preserve that funding? Or is there an ideology here? UNRWA, the famous supporter of Hamas, their head, a UN employee, went into Lebanon and said, we identify with your ideology. Is the UN trying to join with Hamas to wipe Israel off the map? Is that what's really going on?
Yeah, it's actually both. So there are people in suits and ties sitting in New York City and Geneva that have long had a monopoly on aid going into the Gaza Strip that's worth billions and billions and billions of dollars to them. And frankly, we're a threat to that because we've shown that the aid doesn't have to be diverted. For many, many years, it was the assumption that, the cost of doing business to feed people in complex environments around the world was that you were going to lose 10%, 20%, a half, in the case of Gaza, almost all of it to the control of a militant group. And these people, they're threatened because we're shining a big, bright light. But what we've also discovered is it is the ideological point, Gordon. I mean, we've learned that UNRWA employees were holding hostages that were kidnapped by Hamas, that UNRWA employees were actually members of Hamas. And basically every single bit of aid that went into the Gaza Strip over many years was in effect either by threats of violence or violence of Hamas, but also of ideological alignment given under the control of this terrorist organization. I mean, Hamas is a designated terrorist organization in the United States, in Europe, all around the world. And so it's actually both. It's about politics and power for these anti-American elite organizations that have been I mean, it's just corruption, really, but it's also ideological. There are a lot of terrorism and terrorist sympathizers inside of these organizations, and for whatever reason, they haven't gotten rid of them. In fact, they deny the problem even exists.
Well, I've got to ask also, why does the media go along with it? I've been raising that question that, the reports from Gaza, their Ministry of Health is a propaganda arm of Hamas. But it seems they're going along with the reports against you, and whether that's, I mean, you can literally name every single major English language news organization. They all seem to be playing along. Why are they doing that?
Yeah, I mean, CBN is actually one of the only places to get trusted news from the Middle East, because what we're discovering is there are lots of reasons for it. It's the ideological reason, but also, we're not ready to say this publicly yet, but we're pretty confident that there are some major financial conflicts between some of the media outlets that have been attacking us the most, and they're doing exactly what you're saying that they're doing. I mean, literally every day, Hamas itself imagines some number of civilians that were killed at our distribution sites. They release that number to the press, and then they spread it all over the world. There have been no incidents of violence in the GHF distribution sites or in close proximity to it, except for when Hamas a few days ago threw a couple of grenades at some of our American aid workers. Thank God their injuries were not life-threatening. But while I'm talking to you now, a few days ago this happened. We don't have a single statement from a single international organization condemning this attack on these American veterans, by the way, helping distribute food. We didn't get a single statement from the United Nations Secretary General when Hamas killed 12 of our local Gazan aid workers to try to keep Gazans from coming to us. And yet every single day, there was a story at NPR. Allegedly, the writer at NPR had posted a lot of pro-Hamas propaganda on his personal social media pages. The Associated Press, CBS, Reuters, you can make the list. They literally take information provided to them by Hamas and they share it. And this week, the AP even said that they did it. I mean, they literally said in an article that we posted on X at GHF Updates, they literally in their article said the most accurate information on casualties comes from the health ministry in Gaza. I mean, this is a terrorist-controlled organization that makes up information, and then every once in a while it gets so egregious they issue corrections. But by then it's just too late. And so there's actually a report coming out from Rutgers University today or tomorrow which charts all of this. And I think it's going to be an absolute scandal to these major media organizations that are cooperating with a terrorist organization to deceive the world. And the net effect is really simple. There are millions of meals that otherwise wouldn't have been in the Gaza Strip. They don't want these people fed for whatever reason. Because what we do every day, regardless of the threats and the disinformation and all the lies, we show up every day. Today we'll do it again. 1 to 3 million meals for free to the Gazan people that Hamas can't control.
Have you thought about litigation? I know the Sullivan Rule here in the U.S. would probably stop it, but you don't have that in London. And given the worldwide reporting here, you could actually take them into court in London. Have you considered that?
Yeah, not only have we considered it, we're we're doing more than considering it. We're very, very close to that decision. And you're exactly right. The actual epicenter of the global disinformation campaign meant to shut down GHF, which hurts the Gazan people. We think if you put it on a map, it's centered in the United Kingdom.
Well, London has been the point of contact for all of the Palestinian Authority propaganda. The English language versions of that all come out of London. Here's a fact for you that I don't know if you're aware of it, but right before the war, so right before October 7th, Stanford University, that notorious conservative outlet, they published a study of Gazans. And in that study, they showed a majority of people living in Gaza had food insecurity, which is a nice way of saying they were hungry. They didn't know where their food was coming from. So before the war, before the IDF, before any of that, completely under the control of Hamas, Hamas was diverting all the humanitarian aid in order to build tunnels and rockets and attack Israel. I hope that report goes around the world because it shows in stark contrast what's happening. Just final, how can people pray for you? I know you're doing the Lord's work and it's really hard and you've got a lot of incoming fire. How can we pray for you?
Pray for the safety of our local aid workers on the ground, for the Americans, but also the Gazans. I mean, Hamas threatens them every day just for getting food, threatens the Gazans for serving food to other people. And yet what we hear again and again is they finally feel free, but they're risking their lives to get food from this terrorist organization. So pray for everyone, and pray for the President of the United States. You know, Hamas is in an active ceasefire negotiation with multiple countries and the United States. And their #1 priority in this negotiation has been to eliminate GHF. We've heard from some news reports. And I have to say, from the very beginning, Gordon, we've been clear. The need is too big just for us to handle. We want to work with everyone to solve this diversion problem, to reach more people with aid. As a Christian, I can't think of anything more Christian than feeding people who need food. But it is hard work, and we need the prayers of Christians all around the world for the safety, the success, and most of all, that truth will prevail in this arena of lies unlike anything I've ever seen in my life.
Well, my prayer is that we would stand on unconditional surrender, that there is no Gaza with Hamas.
That's right.
That is unacceptable. What they did on October 7th can never be forgiven. I mean, you know, as a Christian, I know that I shouldn't be saying that, but you know, just as a political entity, you can't come back from that. And to say you're negotiating in good faith, no, they're not. They need to unconditionally surrender. They need to release the hostages, and they need to give up control of Gaza. That needs to be the bottom line, and that's what I'm praying for. There won't be peace in Gaza as long as Hamas is there. So, anyway.
And this is the last piece of it, Gordon. They have used food to maintain their power and to control the people. And by giving these people food, we give them freedom. Well said.
Johnny Moore, thank you for being with us. Thanks for being in this battle, and may you stand strong and firm, and our prayers are with you.